Hi there. Welcome to Carol Sanic Unscripted. And here we are. It's December already. Can you believe that? Oh my goodness. And if you're ever curious as to what else I do to inspire people and lift them up, go to linktr.ee/ Carol869. There's a lot of stuff there. So anyway, I'm moving into the week that I always really enjoyed. It was the week after my birthday, exactly 7 days after my birthday. Well, my dad's birthday. He always said I was his birthday gift. Made sense to me. And when I think about my dad, I don't remember one single moment. I remember dozens of tiny scenes stitched together like the scraps of fabric that were always around him. My father worked with his hands. He was an upholsterer and a drapery maker, surrounded by thread, needles, and color, and tacks that I sometimes stepped on in my bare feet. And somehow these things became the backdrop of my childhood. One of my favorite memories is sitting on the floor with him while he worked. He had this way of turning everything into possibility. I'd gather scraps and scraps and scraps of fabric, velvet, satin, whatever was left over from a job, and I would dream up ball gowns for my dolls. Not just dresses, dramatic gowns. The kind of outfits you see in old Hollywood films. And he didn't just smile and pat me on the head. He got right down on the floor, right down there with me, helping me stitch those tiny dresses together, treating my imagination like it was something worth taking seriously. I didn't realize it then, but that was love. That was encouragement. That was a father saying without words, I see you, and I believe in what you create. And that belief showed up everywhere. Whenever I auditioned for a school talent show, whether I could actually sing or dance or simply thought I could, he was my champion. He showed up. He clapped the loudest. He acted like every audition was the opening of a Broadway production. In his eyes, I was always enough. Some dads taught sports. My dad taught possibilities. And then there was winter, because after all, our birthdays fall in the wintertime, which might as well have been a family holiday. Dad could turn cold weather into magic. One year, he actually froze our backyard to make me a skating rink. I loved to skate, and he loved giving me a world where that joy had room to exist. I remember twirling in that little patch of ice like I was skating the Olympics. And he'd stand there watching, proud as if I had just won the gold. And when we weren't skating, he'd take us sledding down this big hill. The kind of hill that feels a mile long when you're little and feels like it when you're climbing back up. The kind that makes your stomach drop. He never missed a chance to make sure we were laughing, flying, and living. Music was another thing we shared. When he started taking me to church choir rehearsals, his tenor voice found a home, and so did I. There's something about singing next to someone you love. It becomes another language, a kind of harmony you carry long after the songs end. But all of the phrases of my life with him, all of them, motherhood brought out the most beautiful version of my dad. After my son was born, I was pregnant again, tired, overwhelmed, stretched thin in every way. And every single day after work, without fail, he came to my house. Not to check on me. Oh, heavens no. He came to play with his grandson. And while they played, while Sesame Street sang and Mr. Rogers talked about kindness, I slept. I slept through an entire 90 minutes of peace while my dad made sure my son felt loved and entertained. He was gentle, patient, completely smitten with that little boy. And in those moments, he wasn't just a dad. He was the granddad I always hoped he'd be. Those days were warm, soft, safe, and then the world shifted. A lump in his chest. A diagnosis. Non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. And at just 52 years of age, he was gone. 52. An age far too young to leave. An age where there should have been more memories, more holidays, more laughter, more everything. I miss him every single day, and not with the sharp pain of early grief, but with the quiet ache of a life that was better because he was in it. He wouldn't be here now. Time would have moved him out of this world eventually. But I like to think about what those later years would have looked like. I imagine us playing canasta together, teasing each other, sharing stories. I imagine him still stitching things together, fabric, memories, love, the way he always did. My dad gave me so much more than childhood memories. He gave me creativity. He gave me confidence. He gave me warmth. He gave me roots and wings, a rare combination. And this week, as his birthday comes around again, I find myself returning to those small scenes. A doll gown made from scraps, a frozen backyard rink, two voices sitting in a church choir. A grandfather letting the sound of Sesame Street fill the room while his daughter finally rests. And years later, when life brought me my precious little Bichon Frise, I named her Willie, the name everyone called my dad. Hearing that name in my home again day after day felt like a soft echo of him, a way of keeping his presence woven into the ordinary moments, a quiet comfort I didn't even realize I needed. These are the things that last, these are the things that stay, and these are the things worth celebrating every year, especially today. Happy birthday, Dad. I love you.